We're going to start with the event, is the wealth of well-being. Thank you, Sadhguru. I'm going to try to be as invisible as possible so you guys can interact and teach us all your wisdom. Sadhguru, you said the title.
That's an insult. All my wisdom in 1 hour is
wisdom. In 1 hour. You have to say your wisdom in 1 hour to all of us. So why the title? What type of the wealth of well-being? What type of wealth are you referring to?
Well, when do you feel well? I'm asking a question to all of you. Everybody's okay with English, right? When do you feel well in your life? Hello? When do you feel well? Yeah? No, not like that. I'm asking…
When you share with people that you love.
What's that?
Yeah, when you share a special moment with people that…
Only then? Only if people are there? Never otherwise you will feel well? That's what I'm asking you. When do you feel well within yourself?
In the present.
Huh?
When you are in the present. When I'm happy.
You see from your heart.
Huh?
When you feel from your heart.
Where else do you feel from?
When you breathe.
Huh?
When you breathe.
When you?
Breathe.
Grieve.
Breathe, breathe. When you
Breathe, breathe. Oh, that is all the time. No. See, the problem is, I think there is too much self-help books in your heads. Just tell me a simple thing, when do you feel well? When you're happy, when you're joyful, hello? You feel well.
When you make the things that you love, go with your dog, motorbike, friends.
No, see, those are external things. When do you feel well? When you're peaceful, joyful, blissed out, or loving, you feel well. When your emotions are pleasant, when your experience is pleasant is wellness, isn't it? Pleasantness of experience is wellness, am I correct? You feel well. In how many ways can you feel well? See, if you're pleasant in your body, if your body is pleasant, we call this health. You want it? Hello? No, you're hesitating. Whether you say yes, no or silence, I'm going to bless you from now on. Health, you want it?
Yes.
Please say a clear yes, because you must understand all the people who are unhealthy, they didn't think they're going to get unhealthy. They were also like you and me. Suddenly one day, things went all wrong. So health is not an assured place. Hello? It's not a guaranteed place. Next moment we can step into ill health, possible or no? We don't wish it, but is it possible or no? So I'm asking you, pleasantness of body is called health. You want it?
Yes.
Good. You must say a clear yes to yourself, not to me. It's very important, every cell in your body knows you want health, because one of them can turn against you and cause you a lot of trouble. If this body becomes very pleasant, we call this pleasure. You want it? If mind becomes pleasant, we call this peace. Only 5 people. Okay, I'll bless. Pleasantness of mind, you want it? Yes. If it becomes very pleasant, we call this joy.
Yes.
If your emotions become pleasant, we call this love.
Yes.
If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call it success. Only to create success, only to create pleasantness in our surroundings, we need the cooperation of all these people and many other forces. But to create pleasantness of body, pleasantness of mind, pleasantness of emotion and pleasantness of energies is 100% your business. Is that so?
Yes.
So, to be well, your body, your mind, your emotion, your energy needs to be pleasant, and it's completely in your hands. Pleasantness of the surroundings is in many people's hands. You need to get all their cooperation. That is a question of skill and competence. Not everybody can create the same level of pleasantness in the surroundings. So wellness or what is being well is 100% in your hands. Now we're talking about well-being. See, there are many creatures, millions of creatures on this planet, some are big, some are small, some are microscopic. We don't call a bacteria being, nor do we call an elephant being, nor do we call an ant a being, nor do we call a tiger a being. Only this one thing is being. What this means is, a human being means you are the only one who has the capacity to determine how to be. All others are living by their instincts and natural instincts of survival, so situations will decide how they are. Human being means you can decide how to be. It doesn't matter where you are, you can decide how to be. Right now you can sit here and be blissful, or you can be miserable, both the choices you have right now. Exercising this choice is where your well-being is. I'm sorry, did I say something?
No.
Mario, from a medical standpoint, could you define to us the well-being and why its significance? Many people would argue it's a waste of time. We want to know whether it's important and it's an external or internal journey, or perhaps both.
Well, I think that Sadhguru really explained it very well. Sometimes it's a difficult language for us in the sense that he's talking about different parts of reality. For us, reality has to do just with our senses, with our five senses, so it's everything outside. So if somebody treats me well, I will feel happy. If somebody treats me poorly, I will feel sad or angry or frustrated. And I think it's very important that we turn our senses inwards, so that we really connect with a true being. It's the most important word for us human beings, the word being, because that's what really defines us. What really defines us is not our body, it's not our thinking, it's not our feelings, are not our emotions, it's our being, who we are. And we have disconnected with our being so much that we have identified ourselves with something that we are not. I have a body, I have thoughts, I have feelings, I have emotions. I am not those thoughts. I'm producing those thoughts. I'm consciousness, I'm pure consciousness. And when I get in touch with that, I experience kind of joy, a kind of wisdom. I am aware of my true innocence, so I remove all guilt and shame from my life. From the medical point of view, this is very important because, you know, we physicians, unfortunately, many times we're very much disconnected with the spiritual realm and even the psychological realm. We just see with our eyes the body, and unfortunately, sometimes we don't see even a patient. We see an interesting case, which is very unfortunate in medicine.
Client.
So, but when we really see the beauty, the greatness, the sacredness of somebody who is in front of us, and we develop this deep way of looking, that deep gaze, and we treat that person with respect, with compassion. We truly listen to that person. We know for sure, it has been demonstrated by very well-known scientists. We know that even the chromosomes and the DNA catches this kind of message, and something starts to change. So now we know for certain that love, unconditional love, which is a different kind of love than the one that we are used to experience in our lives, which means that yesterday we had an amazing dinner at Javier's and Arancha's house, and when we had today the opportunity of meeting Sadhguru's daughter, who is not only a great soul, is also an amazing dancer who really touched our soul, and she's his only child, but when he is asked about the other people, he sees everybody as his family. And this is the key, I think. When you really see everybody as your family, you will look at those people in a different way. So you can see that they are different, but you don't see them as distant. And the body really catches it, because unfortunately, when the body is at the mercy of our ego, the body gets sick when the body is connected with a true being, the body becomes much healthier, you get much more energy and much more vitality. So I think that what Sadhguru has shared with us is pure gold.
Oh,
Sadhguru.
gold is not a very useful metal, except in the marketplace.
It was a metaphor.
Sadhguru, how important are our thoughts?
I'm sorry?
How important are our thoughts in our well-being, to shaping our well-being? Because Mario mentioned that thoughts shapes our bodies, and we're haunted by our thoughts.
Can I tell you a little story?
Oh, please.
This happened, an Indian man went to United States, of course, as a software consultant. After a few years, he made money and he started investing in the stock market. And in, if I'm correct, it's 91 or 92, that year he was the individual who made the maximum amount of money on the stock market. So, a huge amount of money he made. And living in California, just the previous year, he had divorced his wife. Because 50% would have gone to her if he had delayed the divorce by another 8 months. So he thought that was a really stroke of luck for him. And because he's alone and he's got lots of money and now he wants to live longer, so he thought he'll go for a medical checkup. Medical checkup means not like a regular hospital, blood test, urine test, not that kind of thing. In Northern California, there are medical resorts, which are like 7-star resorts, where they have all kinds of tests. They measure the depth of your aura and whole kind of lot of esoteric tests. So, he entered into one of those 2-week programs for a checkup, general checkup. So he was given a nice room on the 5th floor of the building, and they allotted a very pretty-looking nurse to take care of him. Everything was going fine. On day 4, he felt so relaxed. Unfortunately, what should happen in the toilet happened on the bed. Then he didn't know how to handle this situation, he was seeing how to get rid of this mess. Just then he heard the young nurse coming towards his room. Fortunately, in United States at least, women don't walk quietly, they walk talk, 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 talk. So he heard the noise and he doesn't want this young woman to see the mess that he's done on the bed. Not knowing what to do, in a rush he picked up all the bed sheets and threw it out of the 5th floor window. Down below, a normal man was just walking home from a party. And, he was walking sideways, it helps, all right? Because with a few extra drops in your head or in your body, suddenly you realize the planet is round and it's spinning and it helps to walk sideways. So he was walking sideways and going home, and suddenly the sheets came and covered him. And he fought with the sheets, he screamed and yelled and fought with the sheets. It took him over 2 minutes to get it down. By then the security arrived, hearing all the commotion. Then they asked, "What is happening here? Why are you screaming and yelling like this?" He looked down and said, "It looked like I've beaten the shit out of a ghost." So you create your ghosts and you fight them. What to do for that? It's like fighting with your shadow. You fight with your shadow and you think you're going to win the fight anytime. So your thoughts are just small shadows of what you have gathered in your head. You cannot have any other thought other than the data that you have already collected. Try and see. Have another thought about which you know nothing. There is no such thing. With a little information, you can do permutations and combinations and create thousands of varieties of thoughts, but it's still the same stuff. You cannot think about something for which you have no information in your head. You will understand this very well. As the AI technology progresses, you will see with the same information, they will think better than you. They will produce more variants than you can. So this is already beginning to happen, it'll happen in a big way. It's a very good time for people to realize, I've been fooling myself for 1,000 years, telling myself something intelligent is happening. In the yogic sciences, we ascribe no significance to thought. Human thought is generated by us. You can make whatever kind of thought you want. Right now you can try, you can think of a tiger, you can think of a mountain, you think of a flower, you can think of whatever, but none of those things happened. Hello? But you cannot think of any form that you have never seen. You can make distortions of the forms that you have seen, but you cannot come up with a totally new form that you have never seen. So thought is seen as a shadow of a human being. You create shadows, don't fight with it. Then you may win one day. If you win, that means you must be in the asylum, because you really won over an illusion that you create, you win over it. So, how we look at it is, whatever we have accumulated, thought is a consequence of the various impressions we have taken in. Impressions are happening as you sit here, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, impressions are happening at a tremendous volume right now as you sit here. These impressions all could be transformed into some kind of thoughts. Similarly, the food that you eat, what is the Spanish food? Enchilada, is it?
Paella.
Huh?
That's Mexican.
Paella.
Enchilada is Mexican. Here is
They are
paella.
the only
Here is
Spanish
paella.
people that I meet usually. Whatever is your food, the food that you've eaten has accumulated in the form of this body, because we were not born like this. We were born like this, now we became so much, just the food that we've eaten slowly accumulated. So accumulations, whatever the accumulation, it can be yours. It can never ever be you. I can say, this is my pillow, I'm not claiming, okay? I can say, this is my pillow, but the moment I say, this is me, you know I'm a case. But this is happening to you every day. Food appears on your plate, you say, this is my food, you eat it and then you say, this is me. This is a case. So, instead of seeing how to get out of that situation, everybody is trying to solve that situation. You cannot solve it, there's nothing to solve, you made it up. And there is a certain value to it. How you operate in the society, how you interact with the people depends upon your thoughts and emotions. But that is something that you make up. Why don't you make up a drama that's good for you? You're making dramas that's not good for you and you think it's real. Fundamentally, it is misunderstanding psychological reality as existentially true. No, psychological reality is your drama. You can play it whichever way you want it. Is it okay if I tell a joke? Because it's about ladies, is it all right? Hello? On a certain day, a lady went to sleep. And in her sleep, she had a dream. You must respond. She had a dream. But she's Indian, she knows. You must respond to the story. In her dream, she saw a hunk of a man standing there, staring at her. Then he started coming closer and closer and closer. He came so close, she could even feel his breath. And she trembled, not in fear. And she asked, "What will you do to me?" The man said, "Well, lady, it's your dream." What's happening in your head is your dream, you can do whatever you want with it, as long as you know you're doing it.
Thank you. Mario, I wanted to continue with thoughts, because thoughts, I think, haunt us all the time, and I want to know from a medical, again, standpoint, does our thoughts affect our well-being in our body, in our health?
Yeah, building on what Sadhguru just shared with us, I think we need to make a distinction, otherwise it's very difficult to understand this issue. One thing is what we are, and we are a human being in the sense that we're consciousness. So we are aware of our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We are not defined by our thoughts. And the other thing is to consider that thoughts do not count. On the contrary, thoughts have a very, very powerful impact in ourselves for the following reason. These are who we are, our being, and our mind. Both belong to the spiritual realm because they go beyond matter, because they are not matter. The mind cannot define just by the brain. The mind is also in our cells, is in our muscles, in our organs. So what happens? Our mind produces thoughts, and our mind is extremely powerful in a world of matter, time, and space. So if I produce the kind of thoughts that we call dysfunctional thoughts, like I am not worthy, people are not trustworthy, everything is horrible, those negative thoughts are like energy moving in a world of time and space and matter. And it causes a problem in the body. We start to release certain hormones, for instance, cortisol, which has been shown in a lot of studies that really creates damage in our body. It increases inflammation in the body, which is at the very root of all kind of diseases. But if we use our mind in connection with our being, not in connection with our ego, but in connection with our being, then we can start to create empowering thoughts. Those empowering thoughts really has an impact in ourselves and in other people. So the fact that we are not our thoughts doesn't mean that thoughts are not extremely powerful, because those thoughts are produced by the mind. What happens? That was discovered some years ago in the United States, that we have a network in the brain called the fault network, which has been kidnapped or hijacked by ego, which means that this is always distracting ourselves. So we are not in the present, we are not in the here and now, we're in the past, regretting what we did or we didn't do, bringing all kind of resentments, all kind of pain from the past, and projecting in the future some kind of problems that we will be unable to solve. And that creates a suffering in the body. We know that when we set in motion that network, because of those kind of thoughts, we experience a reduction in the working of our immune system, and the organs start to fall. But if we decide that we want to create, because a creation is, as Sadhguru was saying, is our movie, is our film, and we are the writer of that film. If we decide to create empowering thoughts, because the mind is so powerful and thoughts are energy, we start to experience the positive effect of that. It doesn't mean that we deny the existence of ugliness and horror and violence in the world, which means is that we can create something anew from within ourselves, not just complaining, blaming, accusing people, judging people, or trying to punish people or do with ourselves. Is that we really become aware that if we get in touch with who we truly are, a true being, which is awareness, is consciousness, then the mind will start to produce thoughts, which is, again, energy. A thought is a form of energy that will create an impact in this world of matter, time, and space.
That's a fantastic explanation, because I truly believe that thoughts are energy. And I would like to ask you, Sadhguru, because I love when Nikola Tesla...
Can I correct your comment?
Please,
You're saying
if I'm
thoughts are
wrong,
energy.
please.
See, thoughts are energy is like saying, this light bulb is energy. No, because of energy, the light bulb is shining right now. Thoughts are flying because we already have life energy. Thoughts don't fly here, it only happens here, right? Because it's empowered by our energy. But now what you're trying to say is thoughts are energy because your thoughts are influencing you. People's thoughts and emotions are deeply influencing them, there's no question about that.
Yes.
There's no even a question about saying are they influencing them or not. But tell me which one of you can honestly say that in 24 hours, always you will generate only what is considered positive thought? Anybody? So obviously it's not working. Lot of books have been written, Those who wrote the books have become rich and famous, but people are still going through the same thing. Maybe they're producing a few more percentage of thoughts, little more positive than the negative, and they're feeling little better. So you're talking about the wealth of well-being.
Yes.
If you're talking about how to stay out of a hospital, I agree with you. Generate positive thoughts and it'll work. Absolutely it'll work. Generate a little bit of positive emotion, it'll work. But hospital is not a destination. Hello?
No, absolutely.
Why I'm saying this is, recently I was driving in Los Angeles and I just look up. One about 12-15 story building, full-sized hoarding on this building, my favorite pharmacy. I thought, when did pharmacy become a favorite place to go to? Next thing is my favorite hospital, next thing is my favorite cemetery. Hello? These are damn places we go when there is no other way. Hello? Yes or no? When there is no other way, for some reason, something afflicted us, we have to go, we will go. Is it a favorite place to go? But slowly it's becoming like that. It doesn't matter who you are, you must go to the doctor, you must go to the pharmacy. Well, we must go to the cemetery, the whole idea is to postpone it, right? There is this thing. So thought is energy, don't go by that. You're wasting your life energy with thought. Tell me honestly, all of you, in 24 hours, how many thoughts do you have, do you know? Millions, all right? In this, how many are coherent thoughts? So most of the thought is actually waste of energy, simply you're dissipating yourself. If you sit here, there is a way that initially you distance yourself from the thought-making machine, little distance. Once it has no attention, it will just slow down and stop by itself. If I close my door, which is unfortunately these days not too often, 3 days, 4 days, if I sit by myself, I don't read, I don't look out of the window, I don't watch the television, and I don't have a single thought. Because life as a phenomena is a much bigger phenomena than the thought process. Thought process is a minor thing. Unfortunately, human beings have gotten too entangled with their own thought. What getting entangled with a thought means is, your creation is goddamn bigger than the Creator's creation. This is the problem. Yes. The problem is, your own creation has become too big. That Creator's creation is meaningless. Sun came up today in the morning, meaningless. Flowers bloomed, meaningless. Millions of things happened across the cosmos, meaningless. You have one nasty thought and it's a bad day. This is because, see, in this cosmos, neither the men of science nor the religious people know where it begins, where it ends. Am I correct? Hello? Yes. Nobody knows where it begins, where it ends, because it's that vast and so incredible. It doesn't matter if you explore this for 10 million years, still you will not know because it's such a fantastic creation. In this creation, this planetary system which we call as the solar system is a tiny speck. In that tiny speck, planet Earth is a micro speck. In that micro speck, Madrid is a super micro speck. In that you are a big man. This is a huge problem. It's only because you have lost perspective as to who you are in this creation, your thoughts have become important. Please understand this. If you understand, you are just a speck of life. You and me will disappear one day. So many countless number of people who thought they are smart and big walked this planet. Where are they right now? All topsoil, isn't it? This also will become topsoil. But in the meantime, I'm thinking I'm so big that my thoughts are important and it's a big energy which is going to make things happen. No, your thoughts are just shadows falling out. This which just weakens you over a period of time because every thought consumes a certain amount of energy. Thought does not create energy, let's be very clear about that. Thought is consuming energy. Now I'm speaking, this speech consumes energy. There's no question about this. Hello? Somebody else may feel inspired, but it's consuming energy. Without this, nothing happens. No activity happens without consumption of energy. Whether it's a thought or an emotion or a word that we utter, it is consuming energy. So this energy may be used in so many ways. I am not saying human thought is completely nothing. It is only useful for handling material aspects of life, because the data that you have is all about the material that you have seen. When I say material you have seen, your eyes, they can see only that which stops light. You can see my hand because it's stopping light. But something that's more vital than my hand in this room is air, but you can't see it. Hello? But can you live without it? So anything that does not stop light or anything that's not opaque, your senses cannot perceive. So it sees only physical or material aspects of life. So to handle material aspects, your thoughts are useful, the data that you have in your head is useful, but you're talking about wealth of well-being. Now, here thoughts have no role.
And Sadhguru, you mentioned something important. What's the scope of well-being, Mario? The Romans says that a healthy mind on a healthy body. Is that everything there is to well-being, or there is more to well-being than healthy mind and a healthy body?
Well, I see like three levels in our lives. The first one is just the material level, which is, you know, our organs. Is if I trip over and I break my knee, that's something that affects my body, and everybody understands that, and we have to take care of our body. Despite the fact that we are not our body, we have to take care of our body. And this is important for all of us, especially if you are close to the medical profession. There's another level which is the psychological level, and there's no question that people have been helped throughout centuries when they have come across a psychologist who really helped that person to change the nature of the thoughts, from negative thoughts to positive thoughts. But still those thoughts do not reflect who we are. But those thoughts really have an impact in how we live our lives. We know perfectly that people who are under a depression are always generating negative thoughts. Of course, there are things which are painful around ourselves, but nevertheless, if we, being aware that we cannot change all thoughts, but if we are aware of our thoughts and acknowledge that we are not our thoughts, but we have thoughts, and thoughts play a role in this world of matter, time, and space, it's much better to be aware of the power of thoughts, because they have really an impact in this material plane. But there's a higher plane that, at least for me, from my humble perspective, is the highest one, which is who we truly are. So if you are just consciousness, if you're awareness, why do I need thoughts? I don't need thoughts. Let's say that I'm speaking with you, Jorge, and I'm thinking, what is Jorge thinking? Or what are our friends, our family thinking over here? Then, you know, I am making interpretation based on my past and how much I know you. I'm creating associations between the features of your face and other faces that have come across along my life. But if I'm pure awareness, I don't need thoughts, because I know exactly what's going on. But, you know, for somebody who is struggling with pain in the knee, if you tell them you are not your pain, you are much bigger, that's true, but nevertheless, for that person, now, that person is only concerned with that. If somebody is living in hell, in this world, in this earth, is living in hell because that person is always telling himself or herself, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm guilty, I'm a sinner, that creates a lot of pain. And unless that person really knows that those thoughts are causing really a hell in his or her life, the person is going to change. If you tell that person, oh, remember, you are just a human being, you are pure energy, your consciousness, your awareness, your pure spirit. It's true, but nevertheless, for that person might not be helpful enough. But if you help that person to see the power of thoughts to affect his or her reality in this dimension of matter, time, and space, that person might find useful that and see not touching nirvana, but feeling better and experiencing that life is more beautiful. That person can start to look at things, because when somebody's under a depression, you have a beautiful sunset, that person cannot appreciate anything. But if you keep going in that hero's journey and you understand that thoughts are really an illusion, because we are dreaming, but we are not aware of that we are dreaming. And sometimes those dreams are, as you said throughout your story, okay, that man telling the woman, what kind of role do you want me to play in your dream? That's true. But and then when you go deeper or higher, I don't know how to call it, which happens usually in silence, when all the thoughts start to stop, start to disappear, because they are truly an illusion in reality with capital R, then you don't need thoughts. But we are in three different levels. So I think it's important to acknowledge the importance of the body. It's very important to acknowledge the importance of the mind as the source of our thoughts. And also it's very important to acknowledge the importance of the spirit. This is why when we talk, when we speak about well-being, we speak about the body, we speak about the mind, and we speak about the soul. Sure. Because as human, we have a body. We're not our body, but we have a body, and we have to take care of our body, because our body is the temple of our soul. So that's the way I see it.
Sadhguru, it seems that from Mario's speech and yours is to elevate the consciousness is the ultimate goal. Is it possible to get there without well-being, without is compulsion at the center of that obstacle? Is the obstacle to get there, compulsion and our compulsive behavior?
See, compulsive behaviors have come because too many people, in the name of philosophies, belief systems, ideologies, they've been messing with you for too long. Otherwise, simple processes of life, simple human biology, people are guilty of their own biology. This is happening because somebody has been messing with you for too long. So when… I wouldn't speak in these terms if you did not say wealth of well-being. What does the word wealth mean to you? Wealth means it'll place you above many things that everybody else goes through on a daily basis. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
If you don't have wealth, you have to go and stand in line for the bus. If you have wealth, you're going in your Mercedes. If you don't have wealth, you have to go and stand in a queue at the hospital. If you have wealth, the doctor will come to your home. Essentially, wealth means it holds you above all these things, that's why wealth. When you say wealth of well-being, I'm not definitely talking about little things, how to fix this. That is like a mechanic shop. Wealth of anything means you're above the normal process. Now, why is it that we think, all these people here or everybody in the world, why is it you think they are not competent to seek whatever is ultimate within themselves? Why is it that they have to seek petty thoughts and try to fix small things? What makes this person less competent than me? Only intention and outside messing. That's all. There's been no intention, there's no orientation in the society. People have been telling you different things. Otherwise, as a body, you and me are differently competent. As a mind, we are differently competent. But as a being, we are not differently competent, we are all equally competent. But why are we saying these people have to go step by step, they cannot reach their ultimate? Only some special people can get there. Those special people are exploiters who said, only I can be there, you cannot be there. This is unfortunate history of this world. Anybody who gets above to some place of privilege, immediately they say, only I can be here, you cannot get there. No, I'm telling you, in body, you may not be able to run as fast as Mr. Bolt. In mind, you may not become an Einstein, but as a being, you're as good as anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that brings me… thank you. I guess that brings me to the last question, both of you, because we would like to start taking questions from the audience, because you mentioned that the difference is perception and education. Do we need to reform our education system to include a more holistic approach?
Yeah, and I think that what we need is a completely different perception of how things are. Because if we see each other at the same level in the dimension of being, I cannot be more than you. I can have more things than you or less things than you, but I cannot be more than you, because it's a sun ray is not more than another sun ray, because both acknowledge that they come from the same source. So I think that when we get in touch with our true being, which is our soul, our awareness, our consciousness, and see each other as being part of the same family, out of there, everything will change. So it's the point in which everything starts, which is an intention to get in touch with that deeper aspect of ourselves, our true nature, our true being, which is the same in everybody. That's the reason why we are sacred creatures. When we do that, out of that, we will have the creativity, the entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial spirit, the wisdom, the love, everything that we need to create a different world. This is why, at least from my point of view, expanding our level of consciousness is the most important thing that we are. Because if we expand our level of consciousness, we will irradiate something which is really beautiful. If we just stay in the surface without getting in touch with the depth of who we are, we will not irradiate. We will project our own problems, our own hell into other people. So I think something that is a very deep mistake is when we imagine, we think that we will experience paradise when we leave this world. No, we can live in paradise right here. We can live in hell right here. But we need a special, at least from my perspective, a special way of perceiving things. So metanoia, which is a change of perception, for me is the key of everything. And it's also why love is so essential, because if you see everybody as part of your family, then you are living in love. Yes. And then you are living already in paradise. If you see yourself separated from other people, you see that you are more or less than another person, you are living already in hell. So this is why we need to tap into our true nature, unleash who we truly are, and invite other people to do the same, just by example, not by speaking, but the way in which we live. That's how I see things.
Sadhguru?
I mean, I don't want to go about negating everything, but seeing how a human mind works. Because one thing we need to understand is the thought process and the emotions that we go through. Let's say you're driving to the airport and there's a traffic jam. Do you have Madrid?
Yes.
Some.
You have. So, traffic jam, running into a mile, and you are agitated, many things happening within you, freaking out. But somehow you made it to the airport, got into the airplane, it flew. When it flies off and it's making a turn, you see much bigger traffic jam is happening, but it looks so pretty. White lights and red lights, looks very pretty from up there. Have you seen a traffic jam from an airplane? Yes. What is the difference? Just a little distance. If a little distance arises, the most troubling situations look very different. So this is all that's needed. For example, in this world for thousands of years, at least not in the Indian civilization, because for thousands of years we've been saying the planet is round and going around the sun, for over 6,000 years we've been saying that. But in the rest of the world there's an argument whether the planet is flat or round. This argument would have continued Only when people started navigating the oceans, they realized there seems to be a curve. When they started flying, they clearly saw it is a round planet. When they went and stood on the moon and looked down 100%, it is round. It's the distance, isn't it? When you're in it, even now if you walk up and down this hall, is it flat or round? In your experience, it's flat earth. Hello? In your experience, it's just a flat earth, how can it be round? If it's round and you're somewhere at some latitude, all of us should be falling off. We are not. I'm saying the important thing is a little space between you and your body, between you and your mind. If this space happens, which is not some great achievement, every human being can do that with a little attention. If that happens, what your mind is saying, what does it matter? You can make it say what you want, rest of the time it may be chattering some nonsense, depending upon what is topmost in its bin today, accordingly it'll be. It's like, see, you must understand your mind is like a garbage bin. Because you can't choose what should go into it. Can you choose? I like this man, he must be in my mind. I don't like her, she should not be in my memory. Is it possible? Is it possible? If you say, I don't like her, she will be in your dreams also. Yes, you try to reject some face and see, it will rule your mind completely. So, you don't have a choice as to what you can store in your mind. What you can use, you have choice. What you have in the content of your mind, you have no choice. Anything that you perceive from the outside world gets impressed upon you. Now, if you're conscious enough, you can use what you have consciously, what you want, what you don't want, you can filter. But if you're compulsive, it'll happen. So essentially, we are talking about either compulsive behavior or conscious behavior. It's not just in behavior, in action, in speech, in thought, in emotion, in energy, in the way, the kind of reverberations we cause within ourselves. Is it a compulsive process or is it a conscious process? Instead of working towards the conscious process, we are trying to clean up the compulsive process. You clean up as much as you want. It is no use because you fix everything today, tomorrow morning when you get up, everything will be same again. This is the nature of this because what you call as human mind is not a simple process. It has millions of rooms. In your life, you might have explored 2 rooms or 5 rooms or 10 rooms, but it has millions of rooms. There are medical cases of, I was talking to some of the top psychiatrists in UK, and they were saying they found a man with 32 personalities, full-fledged life. He's schizophrenic, 32 personalities, he's living 32 lives, absolutely. I said 32 is not a big number. A human being can live 10,000 lives. It is just that you may not have time and space to do that. Otherwise, human mind is capable of such complexities. Why is it so? If I can take 2 minutes, can I?
Please.
See, in yogic sciences, we look at human mind like this. Human mind has 16 parts. In these 16 parts, you should use only one part to handle your material success in the world. Remaining 15 parts are needed for something else. But right now, most human beings have everything they got just to earn a few bucks, just to handle their survival, to comfort their body, comfort their mind and emotions. Entire life, all their intelligence is used only for this. These 16 parts, what are they? These are called… the first part is called buddhi, which means the intellect. The second is called the manas, which means the larger silo of memory. The third is called the ahankara, the second is called ahankara, third is called manas, the fourth is called as chitta. Let me explain what these are. Buddhi means intellect. How do you want your intellect, sharp or blunt? Choose, I'm going to bless. Sharp. So if you have a sharp instrument, let's say you have a knife in your hand, then you must be conscious how you handle your hand. If you are little la 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 la, intestines will come out. Why is it that we don't give a knife to a child's hand? Not because knife is dangerous. There has not been a single incident where knife jumped up and stabbed somebody. There's not been a single incident. Hello? It is only the hand which is handling it. Whether it'll save a life or take a life depends on the hand, not on the knife. So, once you have a sharp instrument, how conscious you are becomes a must. Otherwise, it's better you have a blunt instrument. If you're putting it into anything and everything, it's better be blunt. Otherwise, it will cause damage to somebody else or to yourself. So, this is buddhi. But this sharp knife doesn't have an intent of its own. It all depends how you have identified. This is called as ahankara. What is your identity? Now if you are Spanish, you are willing to use this knife to protect your nation and kill anybody that comes your way to threaten your nation. If you are some other country, you are that. Hello? If you're just outside the border, you will fight for that. If you are whatever, it doesn't stop with nationality, race, religion, gender, nonsense, so many things. Whatever is your identity, the moment you're identified with something, your intellect is enslaved to that identity. It will only work to serve that identity. It may be religion, it may be race, it may be nationality, it may be gender, it may be some other football club. Hello? Not a small thing, it's bigger than a nation. So, your identity determines how you wield the knife. So it's important, what is your identity? So we developed a culture where before we start education for a child, because we saw education as an empowerment process. Before you empower anybody, first thing they should do is they must take a cosmic identity. That my identity is cosmic, not national, not gender-wise, not race-wise, not religion-wise. I have a cosmic identity so that my knife will not go about cutting anybody because I think this is the right thing to do right now. See, when you're doing that with your identity, you think this is the best thing to do. People are not only willing to kill, they're willing to die. So you must understand they're very honest. Hello? See, I'm only willing to kill. This is anybody can do. I'm willing to die for my identity. Is a honest, you can't doubt that, isn't it? Hello? You can't doubt that, I'm willing to die. But most identities are like that, people are willing to die for their identity. So once you're identified, your intellect is a prejudiced intellect. It will function in a certain way. In a limited scope of life, it's useful, but in the larger scope of wealth, of well-being, it's meaningless. So the next aspect of the mind is called as manas. There are 8 layers of memory in this. Here, there is an elemental memory, an evolutionary memory, a karmic memory, genetic memory, and other 4 layers of memory which are called as articulate and inarticulate memory, conscious and unconscious layers of memory. These 8 memories are in, let's say it's in one big tank. The pipe that connects is your identity. How you're identified, that is how you will interpret your memories. You have no choice about it. Once you say, I'm Spanish, everything Spanish looks fine. Hello? You'll see, look at all the nations, I'm not just talking about your nation. There's a flag, it's just a piece of cloth, all right. But now this is Bharat, this is my country's flag, tears will come. Hello? Yes or no? Yes. Who did this to you? Right from your childhood, somebody told you this is your identity. Once you create that identity, your intellect works like that. All the bank of memory that you have is all interpreted according to your identity. So there is a knife and there is a hand which holds it and there is a memory that is backed up. Depending upon what type of memory and what kind of identity, accordingly your knife is wielded. But there is a 4th dimension of intelligence which we refer to as chitta. Because there is no appropriate English word, I am continuing to use the Sanskrit word. English word they will use loosely, consciousness. That's not what it is about. Chitta means it's an intelligence which is unsullied by memory. All your intelligence right now is sullied by memory. That is, your memory determines how you use your intelligence, isn't it? I know this person, I don't know this person, I like this person, I don't like this person. Accordingly, whatever is your memory, accordingly your intelligence functions. So there is a dimension of intelligence within you which does not have an iota of memory. Well, this may not go well with your culture. But in the yogic lore, it says like this, if you access your chitta, God will become your slave. You interpret it whichever way you want. I am not talking religion, I am just telling you that which is the source of who you are. Because you eat a piece of bread and it becomes human body. Bread means a simple thing. Human body means the most complex thing that you can produce on this planet. It becomes that within a couple of hours. There must be an intelligence beyond your understanding here, isn't it? The source of creation is throbbing here. If you connect to that, then we say God becomes your slave. Now you don't have to do the simple things that everybody does. And is it the privilege of some exclusive special people who sit in some Himalayan cave? No, every human being has the same stuff. It is just that no intention to connect. That means they don't want to be wealthy, they want to stand in the queue. Please, it's time you get wealthy. Wealth of well-being must happen to every one of you.
I